Hey, friendo, Steve here, and welcome back to the Four Lights Podcast. As always, I'm joined by Big Jeff. How you doing, pal?
Pretty good, buddy. How you doing?
I've got a Michelob Ultra Pure Gold with me, so I'm doing pretty good today. Well, cheers on that one, man. Nice. Anyways, on today's episode of the Four Lights Podcast, we're talking about coming of age.
Yeah.
This is a very important episode because for the first time we are introduced to one Commander Remick, Dexter Remick, who will become an important point in a very, very sort of infamous episode of Next Generation, a few down the line.
Correct.
Called Conspiracy, where we get to see a man's head explode. Yeah. Not just any man, Commander Dexter Remick.
It's a heck of an episode.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I remember watching that when I was a kid and being like, whoa! Because I'm pretty sure I saw that before I saw Scanners, which is like kind of the same concept, but way more graphic.
Yeah.
But that, like, man, it kind of looks cheesy now, to be honest, that episode. The head exploding effects, but it's still kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely doesn't look like something you'd see off of like Best Gore or whatever.
No. But it's also like, the way it explodes is just... It's Picard and Riker know that this guy is not, or has been taken over by. Yeah, well, I don't want to ruin the episode. Is not who he appears to be. So they just loke on him. They pull their phasers out and blast him, and his head just explodes.
It's a wonderful moment, and I can't wait to talk about it. Hopefully, we'll do it at some point in the near future. In the near future. Yeah. But this is where we first see him. The thing that stands out to me most about Coming of Age, because I watched it again today. This is episode 18. This is 18 episodes deep. And in a fairly short amount of time, we're at the point where, so this episode, it serves a couple purposes. Like plot-wise, this dude comes in, Remick, and he basically does sort of like an audit, an investigation into the Enterprise, try to find out if there's anything nefarious going on. And in doing so, he interviews each member of the crew, and everybody has each other's back.
Yeah.
What is most interesting to me about this episode is how the crew and the actors at this point, so early into the series, have gelled and grown together that when they defend each other, when they defend Picard, which they do vigorously to this Remick character, it feels legitimate.
Sure.
It absolutely comes across as, we're in this together, ride or die, this is our guy, Picard. And a lot of, shows maybe these days when episodic television takes a bit more time, so like the good stuff takes its time a little bit more to get to where it's going. Sure. For example, I mean, you can take a look at other Star Trek. So like Discovery, it takes a little, and I'm a big fan of Discovery. I think it's great. And you get this in season 2. The crew really gels as one unit. They have a chemistry. They've developed a bond. They've developed a trust. That's when you as the viewer start to get emotionally invested. Yeah. When they're all on the same page and you find yourself on the same page with them. Yeah. And I think this episode, more than anything, beyond a couple things really interesting that it does, I think this episode, for the first time, really forces the issue and says, hey, we're all on the same page. We're all one family. Yeah. Viewer, you are too. Yeah. Because there's this threat coming in. Did you feel that with Coming of Age?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely there. And I agree wholeheartedly that when a show manages to do that, and you do definitely get into it more in the later seasons of this show. So that's honestly, I'm disappointed in myself that I haven't been able to catch up to Discovery the way that I should have. Because I watched the first season. I watched the first episode of the second season. Just haven't had the time to really get into it. I know I'm going to enjoy it because of what you told me and what the general consensus is. Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, it's weird how a good TV show is kind of like having a relationship with a person.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
And when you are watching something and you are engaged in it and you're able to empathize and relate to the characters, and when they're all on the same page and they're all in support of each other, you feel like, to some extent, that you're visiting friends.
Mm-hmm. So. It's funny because I know you're a big fan of Mad Men.
Yeah, I love that show.
It's a terrific show. It is the kind of show, though, that like all the characters are so, like the core characters anyways, they're so charismatic. They all have such great chemistry.
Yeah.
That by the time, like, it's really quick into the series that they are going on different paths.
Yeah.
And it's almost like by the time you hit like the third season, you're like, man, this is really great storytelling.
Yeah.
But I kind of just wish that they were like all on the same page again. And
Yeah.
they're all like in a happy place together. Even though it's obvious that would just be treading water, and that's completely the antithesis of what that series is. But with the show like Star Trek, which is obviously, it's a little lighter than Mad Men, perhaps. It's not trying to tell the great American novel. That is very important. You want to be on the same page, but these people have been through so much together.
Yeah, like one of our other favorite TV shows of all time, The West Wing, is definitely the same vibe. Where everybody is focused on a core goal.
Yeah,
there's definitely conflict because they introduce different characters and different episode arcs where they're conflicting with that core group. But yeah, to have a core group of characters who are all relating into each other and like feels like a family, it does. It just pulls you in.
And I think that this episode is the first one where we really, everybody inherently understands what they're there to do and why they're there and what their roles are. And it's funny because we're only a couple episodes removed from the death of Tasha Yar. And it is funny that the person that replaces her, both sort of in the role, I mean, literally on the show, in her position, Worf, you see there is particularly one scene with him, which I wonder if that scene had been written, because I don't know exactly when along the way, I'm sure it's out there, when along the way Denise Crosby decided to leave the show. But I do recall her saying something along the lines of, well, there's a scene in one of her later episodes when she's talking about Parisi Squares, some tournament. I think we might have covered it in one of the episodes just prior. It's been 8 months. But she said, if there had been more scenes like this written for me, I probably would have elected to stay. But she maybe felt as an actress that she was being left out. It was obvious that they were high on Worf at this point. Because this episode makes really good use. He's not in it a lot, but it's very effective. And she is barely in it. And
it's tough. And I still maintain that it's a shame that they couldn't latch onto a voice creatively for Denise Crosby. Because I think Tasha Yar as a character is really fascinating. The origins of her and the horrifically traumatic background that she comes from. They kind of explore later on in a couple different characters, mostly Bajoran characters. But Tasha Yar coming from like this weird like post-apocalyptic settlement that was just a nightmare thing where there's just murder and rape and stuff going on all the time.
They explore it better with her character, the character that played her sister. They do like a whole episode set on her planet. That is actually a really good episode.
It's great, but they never really get into it in the episodes that she is. So I think I maintain that she's in the right, and I still wish that they could have worked it out, because I think that if she had stayed on the show, they could have found. They could have built that character into a fantastic, like iconic Star Trek character.
I mean, at this point,
it's tough because it is clear early on. Michael Dorn in the role of Worf is like probably one of my top 3 Star Trek characters of all time.
Oh, for sure.
The union of actor and character in that across movies, across TV shows, the things that he's able to do with that character are amazing. And it's pretty clear early on that there's that potential there. So I think that's why they started to pivot, possibly started to pivot away from her and start to pivot more towards Worf.
That could be. It
might have been totally subconscious too. Like, it's tough to tell.
No, it is. It'd be interesting to understand sort of those dynamics in the writer's room a bit more. But I mean, the thing about Michael Dorn is that he is able to simultaneously project such supreme confidence, which is required for a Klingon, and at the same time, such vulnerability for his character, who is raised with humans, is a man outside of his own culture. which was probably simply too tempting for them not to, because Dorn is so good as Worf. And not to take anything away from Tasha, but I wonder if maybe there was some internal questions as to, okay, this is where she's coming from. How do we handle that?
Yeah.
Because with Worf, I'm not going to say some of it writes itself, but some of it might write itself.
Yeah.
With Tasha, you're dealing with some very heavy things.
Totally.
And I wonder if maybe there was an element of, well, we'll get to it, but it's really heavy to write for that. That's me purely speculating. I have no idea.
I mean, we spend most of our lives talking out of our asses, so
that's
fair.
That's I made a living off it.
You're probably right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
You're probably right to some extent.
Yeah.
Plus, and honestly, like, the creative forces behind Star Trek have always been pretty diverse. And there's a lot of female writers in Star Trek throughout history. But that said, it's still like any creative, any TV show, especially in the late 80s, early 90s, it's going to be predominantly male.
Yeah.
And I'm not making excuses for them at all, but just naturally, you got to figure male writers are going to be more comfortable with or more familiar with the conflicts and the origins of Worf set up as a character than the origins or the conflicts that are coming from Tasha Yar's past. Yeah. So it's just another argument for diversity.
Yeah.
If there were more women in the writers' room early on Star Trek Next Generation working on those episodes, I think they would have been able to lock into that voice better.
I think you're completely right about that. Let's kick it off, though. This episode began with Wes running down the hallway, and he bumps into his friend Jake. And you get a sense from their dialogue that Jake, they're both vying for a final spot to test for the a spot in the Starfleet Academy.
Yeah. It's like a scholarship, right?
It's something like that. I mean, they whittled it down to 4 potential candidates, and Wes was one of them. So you get the idea that maybe Jake was part of the semifinal to get into this one spot.
Wes is the only one from the Enterprise that made it, right?
Yeah, correct.
The other 3 candidates that made it are coming on to the Enterprise.
Right. No, they're in a starship.
Yeah,
they're space station. Space. Yeah. And so, but this bit was funny because, Jake is obviously pretty devastated by this, and Wes is, trying to console him a little bit. And Jake is like, yeah, man, only 32 points away from getting it. And I'm thinking to myself, out of how many, though?
Yeah.
Was it 32 out of, a potential 1,000?
This is a 40-point quiz. He only got 8 points. That's it.
Given what we see later, I am erring more towards that. That it was out of 40 or 50. That Wes is like, man, I don't have the heart to tell this guy because Jake is such a nice kid, but
seems
good
sweet.
God, is he a dullard? Is he?
He has some stuff to work on.
He really does. He is not qualified.
Oh no.
So anyways, Relva 7, that's what it is. I think it's a planet. Wes is going to be testing for the Academy there. And in Picard's log, he says that his old buddy, Admiral Quinn, I think he calls him Greg later, Gregory Quinn, he's beaming over. And so Picard's kind of excited to see his old friend.
Yeah, let's see his old buddy.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
So he does, and in tow with him is Dexter Remick, who is a commander, maybe lieutenant commander. And Quinn is very cold when he beams over. He says, I have official business, and Picard, I need to talk to you. And Picard at first is very casually like, oh, yeah, no, it's cool. You got Riker here, official business. Good, we're all here.
Let's go to 10 forward and drink some official business. Yeah.
Let's have some official scotch.
Yeah.
And Quinn's like, no, I need to talk to you alone, but also with Remick. And Picard's like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Just immediately Admiral Buzzkill over here. So Quinn big dogs him a little bit. He heads out and he's like, oh, okay, well, sorry, Riker, you're not involved. And Riker acts like he's bummed out about it, but really he's just like, oh, cool, I get to go see 2 girls, 1 harp. So Quinn reveals that this dude Remick is with the Inspector General's office. Something like that. It's like, and he's
Starfleet equivalent of the Inspector General.
Yeah.
Some sort of government body.
Inspector something.
Inspecting stuff.
Anyways, he's going to inspect the Enterprise at this
point.
point.
Ramik is with the Inspector General's office.
I got that right. Yeah. Okay, good. He's going to inspect the Enterprise. He's going to find out what's wrong, man. He's like, hey, you need to turn over every stone, leave nothing untouched. You're going to figure it out. And Ramik is like, oh, yeah, man. If there's something wrong with this place, I'm going to find it. And then Picard is just sort of giving him this look like, man, I really want to blow your head up with a phaser.
Oh, yeah.
Fortuitous. Instantly. Because
Ramik is one of those characters that they introduce on the show that's instantly, like, every viewer is like, oh, that guy's a prick.
Oh, big time.
They just set him up, like, right away.
What's interesting, though, is that the actor who plays him, he's such a wonderfully multidimensional actor.
Yeah.
Because by the end... spoiler alert, once we get there, he's unable to find anything, and he really admires the crew and how they relate to him.
He is actually a really good actor. His name is Robert Chacon.
Interesting.
Robert Chacon. I can't remember what else I saw him in.
Oh, he was in a lot. I have no idea what.
He's one of those character guys where you watch TV from the 80s and 90s or movies and stuff. He pops up a lot. He's really great.
Yeah, no, he's terrific. And by the end, when he says, hey, I'm really into this vibe here on the Enterprise. I want in on this when my duty with the Inspector. You really feel it. And in fact, Picard gives him like the cold shoulder, and you're like, oh man, no, like I kind of like this guy now. It's like he just had a job to do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. It makes it even more tragic that his head gets fucking. Anyways, so Quinn doesn't give any answers to Picard because Picard's like, dude, come on, level with me. What's going on here? And he says, I can't tell you anything. You're gonna have this dude, and those are my orders. You gotta comply with everything he wants. Picard's like, okay, yes, sir. So there's two stories going on here. There's the Enterprise being investigated, and then of course there's Wesley's big exam.
Yeah,
that's where we're at next. Wesley's in the exam room. He meets this chick named Oleana. She will also be testing, and she's like shakes his hand, and she looks at his hand and says, "Oh yeah, I heard that you were really young." And I don't know if it was like flirting. Or
it seemed like weird kind of nerd flirting.
Yeah,
maybe
because she has nerd. She's very attractive.
Oh yeah,
super nerdy.
Super nerdy.
Very.
Well, you got to figure that any of these characters that make it into this upper tier of testing are going to be very dedicated students and possibly a little antisocial,
a bit socially awkward to say the least. So then there's also a Vulcan, and then Mordok. Who is
the first Benzite character we made on the show, right?
Benzite, that's right, yeah. Because later on we see another Benzite.
Yeah.
And they all...
Wesley immediately thinks it's
look more the same.
Well, it's played by the same actor, too.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
I think you're right about that. And he's like, hey, Mordok. I was like,
I'm not Mordok.
Yeah. And I was like, sorry, they all look the same.
A little bit racist, but aliens. Yeah. I have a Mordok action figure still in the package in my apartment. I should not admit that publicly.
Is it Mordok or is it NWO Mordok from the later episode?
No, it's the real Mordok.
Okay, all right.
I really like him as a character.
No, I think
Benzites are cool too.
Well, I like the little huffer they got going on.
Yeah. And that's an interesting thing that they never really addressed. Like, obviously, if life evolved on different planets, they wouldn't all breathe the same atmosphere. It doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah. No, he is. The actor who plays him is actually really wonderful, and they flesh out the character. In fact, like all the characters, like the Vulcan even is like a throwaway character, but like they got somebody who actually has a very unique look, a very Vulcan look, and it's like, oh man, I wouldn't mind knowing more about this character. So they do a pretty good job with the casting here. So then Lieutenant Exam Guy comes in. We find out his name is Lieutenant Chang. Tells everybody to take your seats, and he gives them not the most inspiring pep talk. In the end, he just says, do your best. Literally says that. He says, do your best. Yeah, okay, thanks, Chang. Appreciate it. Back on the bridge, Ramik is lurking about, milling about, sort of messing with the crew a little bit. He's got his little pad with him, and he's hovering over Data, I believe, first. He's doing this, and Riker comes over, and he's like, if you have any questions, you can ask me. And Ramik tries to big dog him a little bit. But it's just kind of funny because Ramik really isn't being more than just a fly on the wall at this point. You know, he's just sort of walking around observing. That makes Riker antsy as shit.
Oh, totally.
He cannot stand that there is some dude on his bridge, and
he's really mad about it. Clearly.
Yeah, not happy about that. So he ends up going into Picard's ready room. Picard's pretty mellow about it, and he's like, "Hey, am I being?" He makes it all about himself.
Yeah.
He's like, "What's going on? Am I being investigated?" And Picard's like, "No, man." And Riker's like,
unless some will wonder, like, what? All right, Riker, what did you do? What are you worried about? Like, right, I think Riker's a cool guy. I don't think he did anything, but you know, he's probably like. He's done stuff.
There are definitely...
He's done some things that, you know...
There's some search history that he's not interested in being discovered.
Or he's got some holodeck programs really early on where he's like, all right. I mean...
He's like...
Nobody's going to find out about this, probably.
Did I erase the thing with Tasha, Troy, and Crusher? You know, did I erase that?
Inappropriately accessing too many Starfleet members' LinkedIn pages.
Right. yeah. So anyways, Riker is really uncomfortable. Yeah, maybe because I became interested if the subtext in the writer's room was, in fact, well, you know, Riker has a lot of shit he wants to hide.
Oh, yeah.
And this guy is like just poking around everything. Anyways, Riker comes into the ready room. He's all mad and stuff. And he's like, am I being investigated? Picard says no. And Riker says, but if I was, would you tell me? And Picard's like, no. And Riker's like, ugh.
You know the answer to that question, by the way.
Golly, he just needs all the validation. Anyways, Riker doesn't get what he wants in Picard's ready room. So he comes out with a head full of steam. And Remek's like, Riker, I have some questions to answer. He's like, not now.
Like a baby. Just an angry toddler.
He goes right into the turbo lift. Yeah. And Remek's like, okay, well, when? He's like, when I'm done doing whatever I'm doing. And then, you know. So Remek's like, what are you going to do? So then we're back into the exam room with Wes. And he's just acing this stuff, man. Yeah. Right? But pretty much everybody else is. The funny thing is...
It's a hyperspace physics test.
Yes. Yeah. And... I'm not a person like I think I got like a C the last time I took a physics class in Mr. Yost with Mr. Yost.
Yeah, Mr. Yost.
You know, I did okay.
I took some physics classes at AR. It was a while there.
Oh, did you? That's interesting. I never did that. Yeah. I knew, like, I'm very much...
It's too much calculus. I couldn't get into
it. I like the concepts with a lot of that stuff. Like, oh, cool.
I like theoretical physics, and I still read stuff by, like, Brian Greene and different, like...
Sure,
that stuff's great.
I have a couple Michio Kaku books.
Neil deGrasse Tyson's amazing. Yeah.
But I've gotten into, like...
Michio Kaku's amazing, yeah.
I've gotten, like, maybe a chapter or two into it. I'm like, oh, I'll finish this later. Yeah. I know what the fuck he's talking about. But this it seemed like the most basic of questions. This first one, it was like, what is the correct proportion of matter to antimatter that you should be using for whatever? And it's 1-to-1 because antimatter and matter cancel each other out if you have an imbalance. And so like everybody gets it except for Oleana. And then Mordok is like, of course, when you have matter and antimatter, it's 1-to-1. And I'm like, that feels like a 101 question.
Yeah.
It feels like a very basic question, and she couldn't figure it out. Yeah. And I'm like, was there simply no candidates where she came from that were eligible?
I think that's kind of one of those basic questions that they put on there to get somebody to think too much.
Oh,
it's one of those things. It's like, this is a thing that everybody knows fundamentally. You're in a high stress situation.
Yeah.
If you're going to think this is a trick question and psych yourself out.
All right.
Like, that's why they put that kind of thing on there.
Fair enough.
Because I think this episode is pretty tightly scripted. Like.
Yeah, I think it is too. That's a good point because there is evidence of that later on.
Totally.
Yeah. So anyways, she calls Wesley cute. She's like, Wes, if you weren't so cute... You wouldn't be so... You'd be annoying or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, he's really not that cute, so he is.
I think Will Wheaton's a cute guy.
You think he's a good-looking guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, he's good now too. He's got rocking a good beard.
He's got a good beard.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah. He's like a 6 maybe. Anyways, Mordok. So he's like, man, did you hear that, Mordok? She called me cute, and Mordok is like, is that a good thing? And he's like, I think so. Well, it's better if she calls you fucking ugly.
Yeah, sure. They're all socially awkward.
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing. Anyways, they pan down. Wes has a huge erection.
He's like, don't act like you're not impressed.
So after that, we're on the bridge. And speaking of self-conscious, Riker is all self-conscious. He's asking Picard, he's like, man, I really unloaded on Remick. Should I apologize? It's
yeah,
like,
maybe just dial it back and know yourself better. How about that, dude? What are you going to learn about this from the situation about yourself? How about that?
You're second in command
of the flagship.
The flagship.
You should be better already.
Why is he constantly just begging for validation from Picard?
Uh-huh.
Like, geez, I know Picard's an icon. He's a legend. He's been around a long time. He's great. But Jesus, man, be a little bit more comfortable in your skin. Like, he's already mastered the Picard maneuver because we see that, the Riker maneuver.
Yeah.
Where he does the over the chair thing. He has no problems big dogging people, but my God. Anyways, so then Remick, as soon as Riker is like, man, I feel bad. Should I apologize to this guy? Remick's like, Riker, I need you in for an interview. Riker walks into, they do it in Picard's ready room. Picard leaves. Riker goes in there, and he cannot roll his eyes back any further.
Oh, yeah.
He is immediately
so mad.
So upset. He's
so
like,
over it, yeah.
Oh, God, why are we doing this now?
Just like a preteen.
I am not happy right now. It's like trying to get Summer to do the dishes, man. It's what it is. It so reminded me of a teenager.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Remick is like, hey, there's a couple of captain's logs here that I want you to look at. And Riker's like, captain's logs? Are these Picard's logs? Why don't you ask him about them?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you're second in command, and I want you to verify some of the instances that he's talking about. He's like, oh, well, I don't want to talk about this. Picard's not here. I feel like I'm just talking about it, but why am I even here right now? So he's going off to it. And then Remick kind of gets upset with Riker and says, well, what are you trying to cover up here? And then he stops himself and he calms down a little bit. And he's like, you're not going to do that to me. I'm not going to get caught up. And he's like, I'm just going to chill out a little bit. We cut then after that confrontation. He's now in the engineering section. And we get kind of a little montage of Remick at this point, flashing back to some episodes that we've already seen.
Yeah.
So in this case, he's in engineering. He's talking to Geordi about the Kaczynski episode. Mm-hmm. You know, how he was like basically saying...
Ted Kaczynski, when he started sending bombs through replicators.
From the Enterprise encountered the Unabomber. Exactly. I remember that. You know, he's like, hey, you remember that Richard Jewell guy? Anyways, Geordi's like defending the actions of Picard, and Remick's like, so come on, man, just cop to it. Picard lost control of the Enterprise, which he totally did in that episode. Yes. Granted, he was under orders to do so.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it lies at the feet of the captain. And yeah, he let Kaczynski and the Traveler take control of the ship and just take it literally like to
the edge of existence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is still like, it's a really cool episode. Like we went over that one already.
Yeah, that's a good episode. That's a good one.
But yeah. Yeah, he did. He lost control of the ship.
He did. And Geordi reluctantly had to say, yeah.
I mean, technically, he gave up control of the ship willingly to people that he was ordered to do so by Starfleet. So if that's where they're coming from on this investigation, it's total bunk.
Oh, yeah.
And people should be like, they should be much calmer. They should be like, he was ordered to release control of the ship.
Yeah.
He, by the way, somehow got it back into our quadrant of the universe.
Yeah, which is
like
very
we problem
impressive.
solve that. So why don't you guys give us brownie points instead of coming in here and being dicks?
Right, right. They just, I guess, don't like the nature of Remick, but they are pretty all hot-headed about this. And again, it just goes to how much they are willing to defend their captain.
Yeah.
They understand that Captain Picard would die for them, and has proven that several times at this point. Remick is now with Troy and asks about his mental health. He brings up another old episode, the one where the Ferengi use some mind control device to basically control Picard. Another good episode.
Yeah.
And Troy, again, has to reluctantly admit, well, he did get taken over, but it was through some technology that we were unaware existed. Meanwhile, Wesley is in the holodeck, and Worf happens to come in to look at some diagnostics or something. Again, Worf's role on the ship at this point, until Tasha dies, is kind of just every guy. He's like a handyman. He's like,
they clearly put him in the scenes because he's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, oh yeah, he's great in this role. We got to use him more.
And here is
they don't have. This is a great scene too.
This is a really good scene that again could have gone to Tasha.
Yeah,
because she has a similarly.
Honestly, this scene should have gone to her because it should be Wesley being like, I need to talk to the strongest person who's in charge of security. Yeah, she is. With respect to backstory at this point, she is the person that like has been through the most too.
This deep.
If you look at her, her origin. It's like, oh yeah, she's the one that would have the deepest psychological trauma. Yeah. And Wesley is not coming to that table empty, by the way, like with his past. Sure. Yeah. So he probably should be consulting with Tasha Yar. Who knows why they made a decision to make her Worf? I think it's probably a couple different considerations. The scene itself is fantastic. I'm not mad at it or anything.
Yeah, no, it is really good. It is just kind of interesting. You have a number of characters who have all at this point been written with their own fairly interesting backstories. Yeah. Who do you choose? I do again wonder in the writer's room. And in fact, the companion is actually really, really bereft of any detail behind this episode. But it would be interesting to understand. All right, why did they go with Worf in this scene? Because it is a really good scene. Wes is basically sort of sweating the psych evaluation test part of the exam because he doesn't know what's coming. He's trying to think, okay, well, what freaks me out? And he thinks of things that are very superficial. So he's in the holodeck and he's thinking to himself, okay, what can I program? He mentions like some rats of some sort.
Yeah, it's like it's like if you ever watch or read the Harry Potter books, it's like there's what's that cabinet that I think it's a cabinet where you have to face your biggest fear, and Harry and different kids walk in front of it, and they see like spiders, and then the teacher that's making them do this is like, no, imagine it being ridiculous. Put roller skates on all 8 spider legs, and the spider, they do the magic trick or the magic, and the spider has roller skates on his legs and it wobbles about and disappears because it's all fake. And Harry, who's coming at it from this space of deep trauma, imagines something really terrifying. I think he does. He apparates a what do you call it? The scary hooded things. Anyways, a Dementor.
I have not seen.
It's very. You've never seen. You never done the Harry Potters? Yeah. They're great. And he apparates like a Dementor, which is a terrifying like devil creature. And it's similar to that, where like Wesley is coming at it like from a superficial thing. He's like, what if they make me fight giant rats and stuff like that? Yeah. And it's like, no, you're thinking about superficial fears. Like, you hate snakes. Yeah, I hate spiders too, actually. Yeah. But those aren't our actual fears. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Those aren't like deep seated stuff. Yeah. Exactly. Like, there's a snake right there. I'm going to turn the other way. Yeah. It's not like going to freak me out. So, anyways, Worf comes in. And he gives him some guidance about the stuff that's traumatized him in his life, and it's pretty good stuff. Talk about that a little bit, because I sort of zoned out a little bit while that was going on, but I was like, oh, that was cool, but I sort of didn't. I didn't write any notes on that part.
Well, I mean, the interesting part of the scene, and again, this could have went to Tasha, and it would have been an interesting scene still, just because contextually, it's a young person going to somebody with more experience and saying, what should I be worried about in facing my quote unquote biggest fear? But Worf tells him like, there's no point in worrying about something that you can't change. Yeah. And it's like, and that's insight that someone who went through the test and has gone through trials in life would have. It's just like, you can try to anticipate something. Yeah. But the truth is, you're never going to imagine exactly how it's going to happen. So you kind of have to take a step back and kind of float through it, and trust in yourself, and say whatever happens, and something's going to come up that I can't control, and it might be terrifying. But I trust in myself enough to know that I'll deal with it, and I'll grow through it. Yeah,
yeah. No, it was good stuff.
Yeah.
Back on the bridge, though, emergency strikes. Jake from earlier on, the kid who did not make it to the exam, has decided to go on basically a suicide run. Well, he doesn't realize that at this point.
Stupid kid.
He hops a shuttle. He basically commandeers a shuttle.
This is very frustrating to me, by the way. Like, who is in charge of that? Why was a teenager able to just take a shuttle off the flagship of the Federation?
Yeah.
And just be like, well, see you later, guys. I'm going to tool around in space for a bit.
Things are maybe a little too informal, too casual, because you got to, like, what is like over 1,000, like 1,100 people on the Enterprise? Yeah. Like, somebody's going to have issues.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's going to have problems. This is the first time in Next Generation we've seen a shuttle, according to the companion.
Oh, interesting. I hadn't realized that.
I hadn't thought about that. Huh. So, anyways, he launched a shuttle off the Enterprise. Remick immediately is like, Picard, this is on you. If something happens to that kid.
Honestly, that's a justified reaction.
It is. It is. Riker immediately shuts him down.
Yeah.
It's just probably wants to literally blow his head off, which luckily he gets to do. Anyways, Jake, they reach him on the comm, and he's like, I got a great plan. I am headed to this planet, and I'm going to go sign on for a role as just a person on a freighter. So he's like, basically, my life is over because I didn't get into that exam. Tell my dad goodbye. I'm going to go be just a stooge.
I'm going to work in the space. I'm going to work in space Amazon.
Exactly.
Delivering body butter.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And what else do they sell on Amazon? Just body butter. That's all they have on Amazon, right?
These days, that's pretty much all they got.
The best site for body butter.
Although I did get, I haven't checked it later on today, we have a rat somewhere in the house.
Oh, yeah? It's probably under the house, right?
I got well, sometimes he's above it. I hear him like, but he goes into the little room, the little closet right there on the outside, and I got a humane rat trap.
Nice.
The one I got previous didn't work.
Oh.
But this one
looks... You trying a well-reviewed one?
Yeah, I found a better one. Yeah. I don't want to kill anything, man.
No, man, just capture them and then throw them. You got a bunch of fields around here.
I had to get on Amazon.
You'll be happier out in the field.
Yeah, I'm probably going to, like, take him to, like, I don't know. I'll find somebody's house I don't like, and then I'll, like...
Sure, that's a good idea.
Put him in somebody's house.
Throw him in Larson's house.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Grab it out of the thing and throw it over. Larson, here you go. What are you doing? So anyways, but here's the thing about Jake. He is so fucking useless.
Yeah.
He can't even pilot the shuttle. Here's the thing that we know about shuttles later on anyways. Mm-hmm. All you have to do, let's say you're going to Risa. All you have to do is board the shuttle, make sure the door closes, and say, computer, take me to Risa. Best possible speed.
Yeah.
And the thing will do it. You don't have to touch a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
This fool's sitting here just jabbing at buttons. And so immediately, the shuttle starts free falling down to the planet.
Yeah, they say he accidentally unbalances the dilithium reactor,
which is probably incredibly difficult.
It seems like that would take more work to do than to not do. Yeah,
right, exactly.
Like it seems like something that you would have to be trying to do. Like it's that complex,
right? Yeah.
And if he legitimately just did it accidentally, he should not be on a ship at all.
He's like,
he needs to be like a farmer in a settlement or something. He should be working with rakes.
He's like the inverse of Mr. Magoo. Remember Mr. Magoo? He would like just stumble from precarious situation to precarious situation.
Always be fine.
But he'd always be fine. Yeah. Jake is the opposite of that. He stumbles into immediate death on accident. Or maybe he legitimately wanted to blow himself up.
Maybe.
And when he got caught and he was on the communication channel with all these people on the bridge, he was like, I look like an asshole. I'm going to tell him that I'm going to go do something cool, like be on a freighter in space Amazon. In any event, Picard immediately decides, hey, I'm going to help this kid out. Remick gets in Picard's face. Picard threatens to throw him in the brig. So he backs up. Jake immediately starts panicking. But Picard ends up very calmly walking him through the disaster. Basically, he has him, and this is a bunch of space mumbo jumbo, but he says, okay, I want you to aim your shuttle directly at the planet And once you've hit the speed of 0.20, rev up your engines, and then he'll like bounce off the atmosphere or whatever. So he ends up doing it. It's very well done, very tense sequence. The kid ends up, successfully not dying, and everybody's very excited about that. And most of the people are surprised that Picard was able to pull this maneuver out of his ass, and you would have thought that such a maneuver would be kind of common knowledge at that point.
I mean, sure, in theory, if people regularly unbalance their dilithium reactor, which seems like it doesn't really happen much.
It's very fortuitous that Picard understood how to do something that nobody else did. You would think Data would have spoke up, because Data should be like an encyclopedia of how to get yourself out of those situations. In any event, Picard's like, bring the shuttle back and then report immediately to Commander Riker. Remick immediately starts harassing everybody about this, like, oh, why should this? And these are all good points, to be honest with you. He's like, how did this kid have access to the shuttle?
Yes.
Why does he know how to get out of the Enterprise with the shuttle?
Yeah.
And Riker's like, well, he's a very highly trained, highly skilled candidate for the Academy, so he knows how to do a lot of stuff. And Picard's like, listen, chill out. It's just a young man who made a bad decision. He's going to be reprimanded, but...
Which, I mean, honestly, that's the best course.
Yeah.
Kid's going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
And Remick is all high on his horse.
Oh,
but that said, that should not have happened. None of that should have happened.
No, it really, there should be
they're both right.
Well, the biggest
thing is... And I tend to err on the
is...
side of okay, everything is all right. Nobody died. Let's dial it back. So I'm on Riker's side here, but still, none of that should have happened.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this in a previous episode about the nature of their command panels.
Yeah.
You would think that they would have some sort of security login to take a shuttle somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
there should be people in every shuttle bay.
They were able to immediately determine who the kid was based on some mythical ID code. They're like, oh, his ID code is registering as Jake. Couldn't the shuttle have said, hey, your ID code
is like a candidate for Starfleet. You can't use this shuttle.
Go away. Find an escape hatch.
Maybe if he hacked his way into the shuttle to
maybe.
pilot it. Then he's doing everything manually. That's why he was able to even unbalance the dilithium reactor.
To try to
because he's
himself.
Literally doing everything manually.
Yeah.
As opposed to being able to access the higher autopilot functions.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, Jake lives to see another day. After that, Wes is in the hallway, and this big beefy dude is
this is a fun bit,
through.
By the way.
This is a good bit. So he's
what
walking
race
through.
is that guy? Does it say?
Yeah, he's a Zaldan.
Uh-huh.
So he shoulder checks Wes. And Wes is like, oh, man, I'm sorry about that. Like any normal person would. But the beef guy gets just more mad. He's like, why would you do that to me? So, and he's got webbed fingers.
Yeah.
Which is the only difference between him and a normal human. And Wes sort of notices that. And Lieutenant Chang is there and Murdoch is there. And Wes is like, hey, bro, fuck you. I'm going to fuck you up right now if you don't back down.
And Wes is like, you want to go? We'll go.
We'll go right now. This will get violent. Even though this guy clearly could just take...
Oh, would destroy him in a heartbeat.
A one-punch situation. The guy backs down, though. He sort of laughs and says...
He's like, ha, 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 you're great. Let's get a drink.
I like you. Yeah. Let's go get some girls. And then the guy leaves, and Lieutenant Chang is like, hey, you handle that pretty good. And Wes is like, well, I saw that he had webbed fingers, and I figured that he's a Zaldan. And they hate courtesy. They don't like people apologizing. Yeah. They think that courtesy is a weakness and that it's nothing but fake, and they want confrontation. So Murdoch was like, yeah, I would have known that. So
well, that's it. So that's, but yeah, the guy who notices though is Lieutenant Chang, because he shows up.
Yeah.
And that's Lieutenant Chang is great. I think shows up later in the series, but that actor is always wonderful. I don't know.
Does he?
I thought so. Maybe not.
Maybe.
I think he shows up on other shows.
I've
He's
seen
the guy that played. He was on Quincy for many years. Great old show.
Yeah, that's a good one. So then we're in an interview where Remick is interviewing Data, and he wants Data to tell him what's wrong with these logs. And Data's like, he turns it back to Remick, and he's like, nothing's wrong with them. They're fine. the basic premise of your basic premise is incorrect because there's nothing wrong with them. And so this is sort of a quick montage here. It's a very clever way that they did it, where, it's a back and forth with Remick and Data. You get like reverse shots, and then when it comes back to Remick, he swivels the screen back to his next person, but you think they're in the same scene with Data. He swivels it back, and you see the reflection of Worf. So we're now skipped ahead.
Yeah.
He's talking to Worf, but it's a very clever little bit of filmmaking here.
It is.
And Worf basically, I don't have any notes here beyond Worf is just a dick to Remick.
Yeah.
But again, Dorn is great, just supreme confidence. And he's like, yeah, no, you're barking up the wrong tree, pal. I'm not going to give you nothing. After that is Crusher. And Remick kind of crosses the line here. He's like, what are your feelings about working with Picard? And she's like, yeah, he's great. He's awesome. And he's like, listen, nothing here will be repeated. You can be real with me. This is the guy. Your husband died under his command. There's got to be something going on there. And
it's inappropriate.
It's low.
So why would you bring that up?
It's a low blow. And
that's a horror. It's like one of the probably the most horrible moment in her life.
For sure.
Like, if you don't have a specific thing to talk about with that, to bring that up, you should really ask somebody's permission first. You should be like, listen, I want to talk about something, and you should have an objective in talking about it. You can't just reference it like in a manipulative way.
He's being that's
just be
the
like,
right
hey,
word.
This guy kind of killed your husband, right?
Yeah, he's being
no, fuck you, he didn't.
Transparently manipulative.
Yeah,
but this is the thing about this though. This is also a wonderful bit of organic foreshadowing.
Yeah, because
of Wes in the B story.
Oh, absolutely.
His psych test has to do with that. So that was a really, really great little bit to bring up. And she checks him in a very diplomatic, very subtle way. She's like, that is none of your business. That is personal. So that's a dead end.
Yeah.
And then finally we get to Remick yelling at Picard. And Remick asks Picard if he's afraid of being found guilty of something. He's very ambiguous about it. This prompts Picard to leave. And he's like, the only thing I'm guilty of is letting this charade go on too long. He's like, I'm going to get some answers here. So he goes directly to Quinn, and he's like, what is going on? And at that point, Quinn sort of lets down his very formal guard a little bit. And he says, look, I know this has been a strain on our relationship, but it's been necessary. You can be here for the report. He calls in Remick. But before we get his report, we're back in the exam room, and it's the final exam. They're all dicking around with some sort of spatial Rubik's Cube puzzle thing. Yeah. Mordok is having like major issues with it.
Yeah.
Wes turns around and says, just the very basic. He's like, oh, you've got your blah, blah, blah. Just put in your vector coordinates. That helps. Mordok solves it. Wes solves it. Everybody solves their puzzles. Chang comes in here. Somehow, even with Mordok being lost with his puzzle, he got the second highest time ever on this spatial thing. Which was kind of odd, given that you'd think that second best would have it'd been like some Vulcan shit where he'd get it immediately. Totally. Meanwhile, the Vulcan didn't even get it.
Data had to have the best time. Right?
You would have thought Data would have had it, yeah. So anyways, and then he's like, okay, you've got an hour to prep for the thing that's coming next. And Wes is like,
which is the psych test.
Wes is like, you mean the psych test? And he's like, well, I'd prefer to call it a psych. What
do they call it?
Psychiatric evaluation of it's like a
situational evaluation. Something really euphemistic like that.
But
it's a psych test.
But then he says, but you can call it a psych test.
Yeah.
And he's kind of fucking with us a little bit right there. He's like, I know you're shitting yourself about this. Yeah. We have something really fucked up.
You should shit yourself.
You should. It is very elaborate. They're setting it up
there's
right
always
now.
like that in that kind of, because being in Starfleet is to some extent you're going to be in high pressure situations.
Oh yeah, it's like
so there has to be stuff in there throughout that testing process where they're trying to get you to psych yourself out, or they're trying to get you in a situation where you're like, oh, I'm out, I can't do it. I just can't do this.
I'm tapping out.
I'm out. Sorry.
Yeah. So then we're back on the Enterprise. Remick comes into Quinn's quarters, and he delivers his report. And his report is, I didn't find shit. This place is great. Everybody loves each other. Picard didn't do anything wrong. The Enterprise is awesome, and I have failed. I feel bad. And then Quinn says, okay, thanks, you're dismissed. But then before Remick leaves, he says, "Hey, Captain Picard, I know I've been a royal pain in your asshole, but my time with the IG office is about to end. I'd like to serve here in the Enterprise." And Picard's like, "Well, I'd like to shoot you in the face, but can't all get what I want.
Wait a couple episodes.
Fortunately, I do get what I want." So, yeah. Anyways, Quinn then opens up about problems in the Federation. He says there is a conspiracy to tear the Federation apart. I don't know if it's coming from within or from the outside, but the bottom line is I need you close, and I'd like to promote you to Admiral and make you the Commandant of the Academy.
Yeah, which is huge.
And which is massive, because Riker properly says later you get to basically mold the future of Starfleet.
Yeah.
Picard actually seems kind of grossed out by it. Yeah. He's like, "Oh, Admiral, the Academy? Like,
it seems like a cool job.
I don't know what else, like maybe he thought that was like, well, I should be something a little cooler than that, like strategy or homeland security or something. I don't know." Anyways, he's like, "I'll have to think about it." And Quinn's like, "All right, yeah, well, I need it soon." And Picard's like, "All right, you'll have my answer tonight." So Wes is sitting down in the hallway waiting for the psych test. Chang comes out and says Mordok is just finishing up his. Yours will be soon. So they go up to this door where the psych test is going to take place, and Mordok comes out and he's literally shaking.
Yeah,
I don't know what the fuck
messed
they did
up.
to
Like
him.
he just saw some serious nightmare stuff. Like he was strapped into the
Ludovico chair.
The chair from Clockwork Orange. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
This is part of the punishment, I suppose. Anyways, but it kind of makes you wonder. So, I mean, fast forward a little bit. Mordok is one who's chosen. And I wonder if he maybe, I don't know, we can talk about it. But I wonder what his psych test was. And maybe he was totally fine. And they were like, "Hey,
Wes is going to be out there.
Act like you're fucked up.
Act like you're fucked up."
And so he was like, "Okay.
All right, I got it. Yeah. I'm going to look real fucked up. What if I do this? I can cry. Should I cry? Is that too much?
Is that too much?" They're like, "Dial it down a little bit. I'll just do this with my hands." Okay, cool. Sometimes less is more, Mordok. Anyways, so he comes out.
Does he say anything? I feel like he doesn't really say anything.
He's like, "Hey," I think he says, "Are you okay, Mordok?" And he says, "I will be."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like, "I will be, Wes." And then he skulks off. So anyways, they walk into this room, and it's just a bare, empty room with a chair in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's like, they're going to introduce some sort of weird jigsaw thing.
It looks like right away you're kind of like, all right, they're just going to sit Wesley here. The lights are going to dim, and on these walls, it's like a 360 experience. They're going to flash images like nightmare imagery or stuff like that. Like that's what it's going to be, probably, right?
Yeah, right.
And so he leaves. It's Chang, right? Chang leaves Wes in the room, and Wes sits there for a couple beats, and it's like, and nothing happens. Mm-hmm. He's just like, all right. He's just waiting for it, and I was like, do I have to wait? You guys going to ask me questions?
Is there a button I got to press?
Did I do something? And there's just nothing.
Yeah. But then he hears like a bunch of explosions going on outside. Right. And he's like, "Oh, crap. Okay, well, what's happening out there?" So he leaves, and there's nobody in the hall. There's nobody there, but he hears a bunch of explosions coming from the environmental lab.
Yeah.
So he opens the door, and it's a mess. There's like this giant pipe.
This giant pipe that is fractured and is like shooting opaque gas into the room. There's like, I don't know if there's another character that seems dead, but there's one that's on the ground. There's one that's pinned by a pipe. There's one that's on the ground that's screaming.
There's one guy who's huddled up in the corner.
Yeah.
And he's like, to move. "Oh, I can't go anywhere." And there's like an older guy who's pinned down by the broken pipe. And I'm just in my head, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, so the pipes are pretty big, or the pipe is pretty big. And there's like you said, there's like gas shooting out of it. But clearly, there's got to be just some PA with like a fire extinguisher.
Oh, probably.
Or something, because that's what it looks like.
Just 26 fog machines.
Right, exactly.
All duct taped together.
So the guy who's being pinned down is like, "Hey, come help me. My legs are pinned down." And then the other guy is just like, "We're all going to die, man. Yeah. We're all going to die." So Wes goes to the guy who's pinned down. He lifts up the thing and he gets him out. And he starts dragging him out. And he's trying to like pep up the guy who's just
because the other guy is fine physically, but he's clearly like, or he looks like he's totally flipped out.
Yeah,
he's just huddled in a semi-fetal position, like grabbing onto a different pipe or something, and just like, we're gonna die. We're all gonna die.
I can't do anything. And Wes is like, what the fuck is your problem, man? Come on, let's get out of here. You know, pork chop sandwiches. He's like dragging the guy out. And so finally does, and they're like, you know, decam, I think the computer might be, you know, saying something like, you know, this is going to be sealed off because everybody's going to die or something like that. And Wes is like, I'm sorry, dude, I'm sorry. I couldn't verbally walk you through this, but he had to leave him there. So he drags the guy out, and then Lieutenant Chang comes up, and Wes is like, dude, there's a guy in there. He's about to die. And he's like, no, Wes, calm down. It's all good. He's like, he's fine. And the dude who was pinned down gets up and he's like, thanks, kid.
Yeah. And then the door opens and the guy was freaking out is just like, see you later, Chang. We can get drinks later?
But he does give
Wes
a
sandwich?
He does give Wes a little bit of side eye for not saving him.
Listen, man, that's the fucking test. Like, that's literally what Wes has to learn. Is like, you can't save everybody.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And it's not your job. You know, if you're in a situation where somebody is not going to put forth a modicum of effort to save themselves, and you can save the other dude, that's what you got to do. That's your choice.
Yeah. Chang goes into, and so Wes realizes like, oh, that was the test, and Chang is like, yes.
Yeah.
And at that point, Chang he gets like a very Rod Serling vibe.
Yeah.
He starts like telling him, you know, sometimes the bigger fears are not the things that are, you know, like we mentioned, superficial, like giant rats or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
And Wes is like, oh, man, you're like Picard and my dad, which was referenced just earlier in the scene with Crusher and Remick. And she was like, oh, yeah, because like my dad totally died under the command of Picard, and then I just had to do that myself, and I totally get it now.
He's just so cheerful about his dad dying. Oh, yeah, my dad died just the same way.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, oh, I totally get it. And
you guys really put some thought into this, didn't you?
Chang is probably like, this kid does not give one shit about us. This was the wrong test. We should have just dolled up some giant rats, apparently. That would have been a harsher psych test.
He tries to psych Chang, and he's like, but I'm still scared of rats. Do I have to deal with that? What if I go to a planet that's filled with rats?
He's like, I'm not going to go to a planet filled with my dead dad. But there might totally be a planet with giant rats. Come on, man. So anyways, after that, we're back with Riker in the ready room. He tells Picard, gleefully, by the way, hey, Remick just beamed out. Yeah, we can all breathe easily now. And Picard breaks it to Riker. He's like, yeah, they want me for Admiral. And Riker's like, this office is great.
He cuts back to Riker, and he's just taking measurements on the windows. He's like, I'm going to put some drapes up here. I've got a sweet Cindy Crawford poster that's going to grip.
I'm going to tack into the wall.
Or he just tapes it to the fish tank. He doesn't even get a new fish. He doesn't get rid of the fish tank. He's like, this is fine. It looks kind of cool backlit, right?
Riker's like, hold your horses, dude. I'm probably not going to do this. Yeah. So where am I? They want him for that. Yeah, Picard actually doesn't really let on what he's thinking. Riker's like, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm going to go for a walk. Which we never really see the walk, because the next time we see him, he's in his like dress attire. But Picard, the idea is Picard still has to think about it. Back in the exam room, Chang breaks the news to the participants of the exam and says, we are giving it to Murdoch, which everybody seems to understand is complete and total bullshit. Even Murdoch. And yeah, I kind of wonder, and they all congratulate him. I kind of wonder if the reason why, because Chang obviously knows that Wesley, as a student, intellectually, is totally qualified.
Yeah.
Like, I just wonder if maybe they're thinking, he's a little on the young side
he's
still.
He's young.
And Murdoch, who knows how, he could be 200 years old. We don't know.
Yeah.
But Murdoch isn't as good, at the math stuff. But maybe he's got a little bit more of a complex psychological evaluation that he maybe passed.
But he does come out of the psych test like pretty fucked up, at least seemingly.
Yeah.
And immediately it's like, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
So that's like, there's some inherent emotional quotient there. Just some strength there. So.
Yeah. So in any event, they get...
And he is very smart, too. Like, I mean, they're all very qualified.
Oh, yeah, scientifically. Sure. They figured out the Rubik's Cube thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they all congratulate him, and then Oleana's like, yeah, Wes, maybe next time you'll see me here, and I'll give you a run for your money or something like that. Anyways, I'm assuming they exchange their Instagram profiles or their LinkedIn profiles or whatever. So after that, we're in a hallway again, sort of echoed the first scene in the episode. Picard's in his dress uniform, and he runs into Jake in the hallway. And they have kind of an awkward talk, but Jake in the end is like, hey, man, thanks for, saving my life. And Picard's like, hey, dude. And this is great because you sort of get the idea Picard would actually be very good as Academy Commandant.
He would.
And that's what these two scenes here are kind of getting across is that, he could totally be qualified to mold the minds of the future of Starfleet. Mm-hmm. And so they have a talk. In the end, Jake thanks Picard for saving his life. And then Picard runs across Wes in the conference room, I guess. I don't know why I put ready room here. I thought it was a conference room. Anyways, Wes, he's taking it pretty hard. He's calling himself a failure. Picard tries to pep him up, and he says, hey, you know what, dude? I failed my first time also. And Wes is like, what? And he's like, don't tell anybody. He's like, I passed it the second time, and I expect you to do the same thing. It's actually a very warm moment between these two. I mean, Picard over the first batch of episodes was set up as a guy who's not into kids at all.
Yeah, throughout the entire show, there's moments they play on that, too, where it's like Picard doesn't really like kids. And the truth is, in the greater richness of the character, it's not that he doesn't like kids, it's that Picard made a definite, clear choice to have a career.
Yeah, right.
And therefore did not have a family.
Right, yeah.
And I think on some level sees that as an inadequacy in himself. Mm-hmm. So kids make him uncomfortable on that level. But he's actually genuinely very good with kids on a lot of the time.
Yeah, he is. And especially when they're at the age when, especially after this, the episodes that he has interactions with Wes, especially starting with season 2, they're written a lot more maturely, and Wes's character is actually written a lot better than he is maybe in the first 12 episodes or so. Yeah, Next Generation, where he was just like Wunderkind, he could do anything.
Sure,
he was pulling the Enterprise out of every situation.
Totally,
sort of gave him a bad rap in the beginning. So yeah, he's like, come on, man, let's go do this dinner. And he said, I have to go disappoint my old friend. And so we get the idea there what his answer is. And I love that because we don't see the dinner. We don't see him tell Quinn that he's not doing it.
That's good writing.
It's
you don't
really
need to
good
do this
writing.
in a scene. You can just have a bonding moment and you can have a line that says what's going to happen and then, peace out.
There's so much of this episode that the writing just felt organic.
It's really good.
And it felt natural.
Yeah, it's solid.
And you didn't have to see everything that happened. Mm-hmm. You get that just a previous example with Murdoch and his psych evaluation.
Yeah.
It's just, oh man, that guy got fucked up. So anyways, we get to skip the dinner, but Quinn is leaving. And this is kind of interesting because then he just sort of brushes off the conspiracy theory as paranoia. He's like, yeah, maybe there's nothing going on. Maybe it's just an old man paranoia. Maybe I've just been doing this too long. And Picard, when Quinn beams away, is like, well, that's not right. You just brought a guy in to investigate you just spent resources to investigate the flagship of Starfleet.
Yeah.
And you're just brushing it off to an old man's paranoia. Something doesn't sit right there.
No.
So, yeah. Anyways, they back on the bridge. They set course for Algernon 4, which I swear to God, half the episodes when they set course for something, it's an Algernon planet. I've heard that several times.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah. And he sort of gives an extra little nod to Crusher, and they zoom out of there. And that's your episode.
It's a good episode.
I thought it was a good episode, man.
Very enjoyable.
Let's get some of these trivia cards out.
Oh, we're going to do some more trivia?
Yeah, we'll do some more trivia. You get... speaking of which, Crusher, and I get just the Enterprise zooming off into some sort of jizz nebula of some sort.
The Jizzula.
I'll go first. Oh, man. Oh, God, this is hard. We're talking about Dr. Leah Brahms now.
Okay.
To which Galaxy-class starship team was Dr. Leah Brahms assigned? If you remember, she was at the space station where they build ships.
So it's the sister ship to the Enterprise, which I don't remember the name of off the top of my head, but I'll remember when you read it on the.
Okay, you won't because here it is. It's either Team 5, Team 6.
Oh, it's a team number.
Or Team 7.
Team 5?
It's Team 7.
Yeah. What was Deviani Rye's edge?
What?
That's the question.
Okay.
It'll make sense. I think that's a very specific thing that you would just have to remember if it wasn't multiple choice.
Okay.
What was Deviani Rye's edge? He was 1/4 Vulcan. B, he was 1/4 Betazoid. Or C, he was 1/4 Organian.
Oh, he was part Beta Z because he could read people's. I remember him. He was the deaf guy, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Next, he was either the deaf guy or he was the guy who had a relationship with Troy.
Yeah, I thought he was the dude that Troy hooked up.
Okay. Yeah. Next. Oh my God, this is horrible. In which holodeck did Geordi LaForge recreate Dr. Brahms? Holodeck 2, 3, or 4? That nobody would fucking know that.
Yeah, shot in the dark. I'll say 3.
Good job. Yeah. Well done.
How did Daimon Goss poison Federation negotiator Seth Mendoza? How did Daimon Goss poison Federation negotiator Seth Mendoza?
With it was like a handshake, wasn't
Correct.
it?
Yeah, he shook Mendoza's hand.
Yeah, he had a DNA poison.
The other options would have been he injected Mendoza with a hypo spray, or he dropped a powder in Mendoza's drink.
Yeah,
handshake.
Yeah, I remember that. 3. What devices were hidden in the Aurelius 9 debris that trapped the USS Enterprise? What devices were hidden in the Aurelius 9 debris that trapped the Enterprise? And your choices are aceton assimilators, plasma wavelength converters, or tractor beams. I wouldn't know.
I thought it was some sort of nanotechnology, so I'd go with the first one because that sounds most appropriate.
Good job. Well done. Wow, I didn't know
that. What did Daimon Goss use to poison Federation negotiator Mendoza? It sounds like the same question, but it's not. A, the Daimon's own blood procytes. B, an overdose of cortisine. Or C, nanites. So what was the poison, essentially?
His own blood.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember that. All right. Oh, I kind of remember this. So in that previous question, they were trapped in
the nebula,
the Aurelius 9 debris.
Yeah.
Who personally flew the Enterprise out of the booby trap at Aurelius 9? Was it Wesley Crusher, Captain Picard, or Commander Riker?
Oh, man. I think it's Picard. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Riker.
What is your answer?
Picard.
Very good.
Yeah.
You're correct. Yeah, and then there was another one when Riker had to do it alone. There was that one where what's his face? Jellicoe. Remember Ronnie Cox?
Ronnie Cox.
When he was like, "Hey, I need you to pilot this," and Riker was just chilling on his civilians because he had been dismissed because he was such an asshole to him.
How many of the Jellicoe meme images have you seen? This is a whole thing that's. I don't know how often you check into the Star Trek ship posting group on Facebook.
Every once in a while, not often.
I don't know if all those are just created just for that group or they just exist in other message boards, but people take frames from the Jellicoe episodes and just construct, they do 3 or 4 panel meme jokes. A lot of them are straight up dad jokes. Some of them are hilarious. Some are incredibly inappropriate. It's just playing what a dick Jellicoe is.
God, he was the most, he was so fucking horrible.
Oh yeah, totally.
Ronnie Cox played that perfectly.
Oh, 100%.
You're up.
When Federation Representative Seth Mendoza became ill at the Barzan negotiations, who replaced him? Picard, Riker, or Troy?
Well, it would have been Picard.
No, it was Riker.
Was it?
Yeah.
God, that's a terrible idea. What a terrible idea. That sounds familiar. like Riker or Picard does that for the Klingons, but he's for some crap ass race. He's Riker, you just do it. What propulsion system did Captain Picard use to maneuver the USS Enterprise out of the booby trap?
He's flying on impulse, right?
No, thrusters.
Oh, thrusters. So less than impulse. Boy.
Less than impulse, yeah. It was just thrusters.
Yeah, very delicate, super slow. Yeah, that makes sense.
You're up.
Level who 2. Said conformity is not my style? Deviani Rao, sorry. Vosh or Guinan?
Conformity is not my style. I would think it's Vosh.
It sounds like a Vosh thing, but apparently it was this Deviani Rao character, who I really don't remember.
Utopia Planitia is located on what planet?
Risa?
They don't do no work on Risa, man.
Yeah.
It's in our solar system.
Venus.
Mars.
That makes more sense. Deviani Rao's mother was part Beta Z. Was what part Beta Z? Yeah, I mean, you already get that because he's a quarter. So
well, she's half.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Where was the dilithium crystal chamber for the USS Enterprise designed? Oh God, good luck with this.
Earth.
Sarin T1.
Yeah. Not Earth.
Not Earth.
Who said at the negotiating table it can be fatal to have a heart?
Troy?
No. That's Deviani Rao character.
Oh, God.
You know all these questions are about this dude.
Who created the booby trap at Aurelius 9?
I
wonder if we had actually reviewed this episode prior to it. If you'd actually remember, that'd probably be better.
That'd be interesting. Who created that booby
You're not
trap?
gonna get this, man.
I don't know. Romulans?
The Menthars.
It's made up. Sounds like a chewing gum flavor.
I know, right?
Who lost a shuttle pod at the far end of the Barzon wormhole?
Who lost a shuttle pod at the far end? Deviani Roth.
No, good guess. No, it just says the Ferengi.
Oh, that sounds
just that one Ferengi you lost.
On a single.
It doesn't even say the Ferengis. It just said
and then finally, I think I remember that one. That was one where they're like bartering over a wormhole, or they're like negotiating over a wormhole. That sounds right. Yeah, that's right. And Riker was bidding against that dude who had a thing for Troy.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I can read your mind." And he was played by the guy who did Serenity Now, Lloyd Braun. That was Lloyd
really?
Braun. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
Another guy who like you just want to punch.
Is this my last? Or you have?
I have this one. Okay, so who attended the intergalactic caucuses at Shia 7?
Picard.
Dr. Leah Brahms.
Brings
it all back around.
Episode. According to Captain Picard, in what game does Commander Riker conduct master classes? According to Captain Picard, in what game does Commander Riker conduct master
Well, it ain't 3D
classes?
chess. It's got to be Parisi squares.
No.
What?
That's more of a sport, isn't it? It's a game.
Oh, game? Fucking, I don't know, holodeck fucking what?
They play like every episode, poker.
Oh, Jesus, okay.
You overthought it.
Yeah, I overthought that one.
Yeah.
That was my 1-to-1 ratio. Anyways, that's it for this episode of The Four Lights. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure, if you're listening to this in the audio realm, leave us a rating, review, or comment. It really helps boost the exposure of The Four Lights podcast. Thanks for listening or watching. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.